Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have more gaming and PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. So let's start with the world of Final Fantasy. Naoki Hamaguchi, one of the key figures behind the Final Fantasy VII Remake project, has given fans something new to think about. He recently revealed that once Part 3 of the Remake trilogy is complete, the team might not be done with the story just yet. There's talk inside Square Enix about a potential DLC and even the possibility of a whole new Final Fantasy game. Hamaguchi explained that when the trilogy finally wraps up, there's a sense that the audience for Final Fantasy VII will be much larger than before. After all, the remake has introduced a whole new generation to one of gaming's most iconic worlds. So with that in mind, the studio is considering how to keep that momentum going, whether that means more downloadable content or even something bigger like a new game. He also touched on smaller projects within the universe like the Queen's Blood card game. It's not a current priority, but he admitted that nothing is off the table if fans show enough demand. It's a reminder that player interest still plays a huge role in what developers choose to build next. Hamaguchi also mentioned that for Part 3, the team is looking for balance, something that feels tighter and more concise without losing the emotional depth that the story is known for. Even though the release isn't expected until around 2027, development is running smoothly with separate teams ensuring the multi-platform approach won't slow things down. So great news if you are a fan of Final Fantasy, in particular Final Fantasy VII, which may actually get either DLC or we may get a brand new Final Fantasy game. Now shifting from Square Enix to Sony, and this one is interesting. Shuhei Yoshida, the veteran name in the PlayStation world, recently made some thought-provoking comments about the next PlayStation console, and I've got to say, I totally agree with him. Speaking about the PlayStation 6, he suggested that raw power alone might not be enough anymore, and he's talking about enticing gamers to new platforms. He said that the graphical improvements we're seeing today, they've reached such a point where even he cannot barely tell the difference unless two versions are shown side by side. And think about that for a moment. How many times have you seen the same game being played on different platforms with the publishers or the platform saying actually it plays better here? You know what, you can't actually tell the difference unless you see both games being played side by side. Yoshida has got a point. If you compare late generation PlayStation 4 games, heck, you've got PlayStation 3 games that still look fantastic, and you compare these to, let's say, some early PlayStation 5 titles, the visual jump is not as dramatic as it used to be between, earlier PlayStation console generation. So where does the PlayStation go from here? What do we expect from PlayStation 6? How is it going to make people jump onto that platform? Now, Yoshida believes that innovation, not just more power, is what the company needs to focus on. He mentioned that the PlayStation 5's SSD and DualSense controller are prime examples. They didn't just make games look better, they made them feel better, and they made those games play better. Faster loading, tactile triggers, and immersive haptics changed the experience in a way visuals alone could not do. He also pointed out that PlayStation's leadership has shifted to a younger generation, people like Hideaki Nishino and Herman Hulst. Now that could open the door to fresh ideas, maybe something more riskier and more creative direction for the PlayStation 6. Maybe it's time for PlayStation to disrupt its own formula instead of simply refining what it's already good at. And when you think about it, he is right. How much further can graphics really go before they stop feeling like progress? I mean, unless you're willing to spend a couple of thousand and you're then talking kind of PC and high-end graphics with lots of ray tracing. And I know the PlayStation 5 delivers that to some extent. How much more can the PlayStation 6 really go, realistically? And speaking of innovation, Nicolas Duquette from Team Asobi, the studio behind Astro Bot, recently shared similar thoughts. He said that the PlayStation 5's magic doesn't come from its visuals alone, but the unique hardware features that shape how games feel. According to him, most people cannot instantly see a massive leap visually between the PlayStation 4, and we're talking back-end games, and the PlayStation 5. The real difference, according to him, comes when you actually play the games. The DualSense controller, with its adaptive triggers and subtle haptic feedback, adds an entirely new layer of immersion. You can feel the resistance of pulling something heavy, the crunch of breaking an object, or the tension of a bowstring before it releases. That sense of touch is what defines this generation. Pair that with the near instant loading times of the SSD, and you get that smoother, faster, more enjoyable gameplay experience. He even mentioned how games like the Souls series series, they benefit from it because you're constantly dying in those games. Let's make no mistakes, right? But in the Souls-like genre, dying and retrying no longer feels like a chore because you're back into the action almost instantaneously. So when you think about the PlayStation 6, it might not just be another jump in graphics. The power narrative really doesn't matter because these consoles for next generation are going to be much of a muchness. They're all going to be very, very similar in terms of power. So it's not going to be about another jump in graphics. It's got to be about something else. It might be, say, how we interact with games altogether. It might be about how games feel when you play them, depending on the controller you use. I don't know, but it's got to be something more innovative. Maybe Sony's next big innovation will not be on the screen, but maybe it's something we feel in our hands via the controllers. What do you think, guys? Is the PlayStation 6 going to be about power or innovation? And moving on to something huge, Warner Brothers Discovery has officially announced that it's up for sale. The company says it's reviewing interest from multiple parties who might want to buy either the entire company outright or specific divisions within it, like Warner Brothers Games. And we know that Warner Brothers Discovery reorganized itself as a company last year, where they divided certain assets within the business into certain segments, almost as if it was easier to buy specific divisions within the company. Now, this announcement comes while the company is already in the middle of separating from Discovery Global, which makes things a little bit more complex. But according to CEO David Zaslav, it's all part of an effort to unlock the full value of their assets. In simpler terms, they're trying to figure out how to make the most money possible whilst keeping the business afloat. And what's interesting is that this isn't the first time rumors of a sale have surfaced. In recent years, there have been rumors of big companies, even Sony, showing an interest in Warner Brothers, but nothing has really materialized. The Warner Brothers game division is especially worth watching here. Despite some major successes like Hogwarts Legacy, management has been criticized for chasing live service trends and making questionable decisions about the company's direction. Many feel the leadership has lost sight of what made their games special in the first place, with multiple layoffs, studio closures, and growing frustration from fans and developers alike. It's fair to ask, is Warner Brothers Discovery in trouble because of market conditions or because of total mismanagement? And if a sale doesn't happen, what will it mean for the franchises that we love, like Mortal Kombat, Batman, or Harry Potter? Who do you think is best placed to acquire WB Games? Is it going to be Microsoft, Sony, Tencent, the Saudi Arabia Investment Fund, or another player in the market? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Next, let's talk about another classic franchise making its way back, and that is Silent Hill. Back in 2022, Konami shocked fans by announcing 3 new Silent Hill projects all at once, and that was the Silent Hill 2 remake, Silent Hill F, and Silent Hill Townfall. Now, the producer Motoi Okamoto has explained why the company made such a bold move. He said Konami didn't want to test the waters with just one remake. They wanted to prove to fans that they were serious about reviving the franchise to show real commitment after a decade of silence. It's easy to see why that mattered. Silent Hill hasn't had a major release since 2012's Downpour, and the cancelled Silent Hills projects with Hideo Kojima still haunts many fans as one of gaming's biggest what-if moments. By announcing multiple projects, Konami wanted to rebuild that trust and to tell fans, look, we're back and we're not just testing ideas here. Okamoto admitted that developing a remake and a brand new title at the same time does carry certain risks, but he does believe it's necessary to show players that there is a future for Silent Hill. And without that sense of direction, he says players lose interest. And he's not wrong. Fans want to feel like a series has momentum and not uncertainty. With Silent Hill 2 Remake and Silent Hill F seeing critical and commercial success, and Townfall expected in 2026, Konami's big comeback plan is clearly underway. Add to that a new movie adaptation, Return to Silent Hill, releasing in 2026, rumors of a DLC for Silent Hill 2 Remake tied to the film release, and a remake of the original Silent Hill game. It's safe to say the fog is rolling back into town. Now, while Konami is doubling down, Xbox seems to be thinking bigger in every way than ever before. Sarah Bond, the president of Xbox, recently confirmed that Microsoft is absolutely working on its next generation console, and she described it as a very premium, very high-end curated experience. Whatever that means, that was her exact phrase. What that means in practice isn't entirely clear just yet, but if we read between the lines, it suggests Microsoft might be going for a device that blends the power of a console with the flexibility of a PC, and also with a price to match it, especially since she pointed to the Rogue Xbox Ally X, a handheld gaming device that can run Xbox, Steam, and other PC titles, as a glimpse of what's to come. So basically, an Xbox console that lets you access an entire PC gaming library across all major launchers, without giving up the simplicity of console play. Of course, Bond also called it a premium experience, and that probably means it'll come with a premium price tag, probably twice the price of the PlayStation 6. But considering Microsoft's push towards ecosystem gaming, Game Pass integration, and cloud gameplay, the next Xbox could end up being more than just a box under your TV. So what are your thoughts? Does the next Xbox excite you? The idea of being able to play games from different storefronts sounds really interesting, but I just don't see how Xbox or Microsoft makes money on the box. The other thing is that Xbox won't have any exclusive games unless they change their current strategy. So why would you buy the new Xbox PC hybrid unless you're already heavily invested into the Xbox community already? Just food for thought, guys. Anyway, let me know your comments down below and let's move on. Ubisoft's long-awaited remake of the original Splinter Cell has lost yet another director. According to a job listing that briefly appeared on Ubisoft's website, the company is now hiring a game director for the project, and this isn't the first time the remake has hit turbulence. The first game director, David Grivell, left the company in 2022 after over a decade at Ubisoft. Since then, there's been silence. No gameplay, no trailers, no updates, nothing about the project's progress. It's a worrying sign for fans who've been waiting over a decade to see Sam Fisher back in action. And while the Splinter Cell Deathwatch animated series on Netflix did help keep some of the brand alive, the lack of progress on the remake has many questioning if Ubisoft can ever deliver the return fans actually deserve for this series. With so many classic Ubisoft franchises struggling to find their footing again, this feels like another missed opportunity. Still, hope remains, and maybe this new leadership could finally get the project back on track. And finally, one more rumor that's been circulating for quite some time. Starfield might finally be coming to PlayStation 5, but not in 2025. According to trusted insiders, Bethesda is planning to announce the PlayStation 5 port of Starfield in 2026. The idea is that it will release alongside the game's second major DLC expansion, which is said to bring major new systems and reworked space gameplay. That's a long wait for PlayStation players, but maybe not a bad thing. Starfield launched with big ambitions but mixed reactions. Since then, Bethesda has been rolling out updates and expansions, improving performance and adding content. By 2026, the game should be in a much better state, and since Xbox is virtually going third party, releasing it on PlayStation 5 at that point makes total sense. If Starfield is fully on disc, then I will get this when it does come to PlayStation in 2026. However, if they pull another Outer Worlds, Doom, Indiana Jones and the rest, then I think I'll be passing when it does eventually hit PlayStation. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will catch you on the next video.